It would seem that my last video ruffled a few feathers. I had a few commenters call me out on the subject of religion and the fact that I am either anti-Christian or am pro-atheist, and that I should just admit that Zetland is just for atheists. I mean, really? People, please, I am not ever going to debate the merits or shortfalls of religion on my channel. I started this channel to spread awareness about the deteriorating situation in South Africa and to offer any advice I could that people might find useful. That's it. I don't even discuss politics much here, other than to say the obvious. That is how utterly useless these morons in power are. That is not politics, that is fact. Having said that, I have a very important message to share with you today. I also have some very good news regarding Zetland itself. Yesterday we celebrated or commemorated the original Day of the Covenant, or also known as the Day of the Vow. Now, for those of you who do not know what the Day of the Covenant is, other than the fact that it is a public holiday and an excuse to have another braai, let me give you a brief history lesson. Wikipedia says the following. The Day of the Vow traces its origin to an annual religious holiday to the Battle of Blood River on the 16th of December 1838. The besieged voortrekkers took a public vow or covenant together before the battle, led by Sarel Cilliers. In return for God's help in obtaining victory, they promised to build a church and forever honor this day as a holy day of God. They voted that they and their descendants would keep the day as a holy Sabbath. During the battle, a group of about 470 voortrekkers defeated a force of about 20,000 Zulu. 3 voortrekkers were wounded and some 3,000 Zulu warriors died in the battle. Now, as I said right in the beginning of this recording, I do not discuss religion on my channel, but I would like to talk to you about what this day means to you and I. What significance it had yesterday as opposed to many years before it. Over the years, as life became easier and more prosperous for the white population in South Africa, the significance of the 16th of December had all but lost its significance, especially since it was renamed to the Day of Reconciliation in 1994. What I would like to talk to you about today is how yesterday was different from many years gone by when it comes to commemorating the 16th of December as the Day of the Vow or the Day of the Covenant. Before I carry on, I'd like to play a short excerpt from a video that has been doing the rounds on social media lately. I'm not sure of the exact year it was filmed, but from the way the people are dressed, it must be a very long time ago.
Nou wordt die gelofte wat Sarel Cilliers bij Bloedrivier afgeleid, plechtig voorgelees. Met gebogen hoofden staan die ganse skare in ootmoed.
Mijn broeders en medelandgenoten, hier staan wij thans op een ogenblik voor een heilige God van hemel en aarde, om in belofte aan hem te beloven, als hij met zijn bescherming met ons zal wezen en onze vijand in onze handen zal geven, dat wij hem overwinnen, dat wij die dag en datum elke jaar als in verjaardag en in dankdag, zoals in Sabbat, in zijn eer zal doorbrengen, en dat wij een tempel tot zijn eer stichten zal, waar het hem zou behagen, en dat wij het ook aan onze kinderen zal zeggen, dat zij met ons erin moeten delen, tot gedachtenis ook voor onze opkomende geslachten, want de ere van zijn naam daardoor zal verheerlijkt worden, dat de roem en eer van onze overwinning aan hem zal worden gegeven.
Die skare neem weer hulle sitplekke in om toegespreek te word.
Afrikaners, kowaardes, waar gaan jy heen? Staan dan stil en draai terug naar uw volk. Die uur is nou daar. Die zonnestraal uit die hemel val nou op die sarkofaag. Dit verlig nou daar die toewijdingsgelofte, wat nou en voor altijd diep ingegrif en onuitwisbaar op die hart van elke Afrikaner geskrywe moet staan. Ons vir jou, Suid-Afrika.
When I watched this video, one thing stood out to me like a sore thumb. I wonder if you can guess what that is. I'm not sure, as I said, in what year this clip was filmed, but if you look in the background, you can see the Voortrekker Monument. Seeing that the cornerstone of the Voortrekker Monument was only laid on the 16th of December 1938, and it was inaugurated on the 16th of December 1949, I can only assume that this clip was made either then or sometime after that. From the information I could find while researching this, the white population in 1946 was around between 2 and 3 million. Today I understand it to be around 4 million. Keeping these figures in mind, I would like you to take a look at the image on the screen right now, taken from the video you've just watched. Can you tell me how many people are at this event? Would you like to take a guess? I have no idea what the correct number is, but I can tell you it was a lot of people. I would hazard a guess and say in the region of 50 to 80,000 at least. Now compare that to the amount of people who commemorated the Day of the Vow at the Voortrekker Monument over the last couple of years. I don't have figures, but I can tell you that the attendance has been dismal to say the least. Yesterday there were no counts taken of the amount of people that attended the ceremony at the Voortrekker Monument, but I have it on good authority that within an hour yesterday morning they had already handed out 2,000 programs and the people were still streaming in. I also have it on good authority that in other parts of the country where the Day of the Vow was commemorated, attendance was fantastic. I got reports that in at least 2 venues, attendance was at least twice that what it was last year. This, my friends, is in my opinion the most significant takeaway from all the ceremonies held all over the country yesterday. This is what I would like to discuss with you today. If you look at the amount of people that were present at the ceremony in the video I just showed you, and compare it to attendance these days, it is quite dismal, or it has been quite dismal, until now. The numbers of people who attended this year's ceremonies has increased significantly. We are nowhere near the attendance numbers or percentages as depicted in this video, but we are heading in that direction again. Now, what I am about to tell you might once again be considered offensive to some people, but please bear with me here. There are those that would say that the increase in numbers this year is due to more people turning back to their God. I have no doubt that in many, if not most cases, this is true, but I doubt very much that it is the only reason. I personally know many people who are not very religious, and in some cases not religious at all, but have become so patriotic that they have too committed themselves to the cause and also took part in the proceedings yesterday. To me, it is immaterial what their reasons are. The most important thing to me is the fact that more of us are coming to the realization that only we can sort this problem out. And no matter what our reasons are, the only thing that matters is that we are coming together as one and will soon be a force to be reckoned with, not that we aren't already. But what I see happening is like music to my ears, like discovering water in a dry desert. Now, judging from the comments in my last video, there are going to be a few of you who will say that you will never trust anyone who does not see life the same way you do. You will never fight alongside a man or woman who is not as religious as you are, or someone who voted yes in the 92 referendum. In fact, from some of the comments I got the impression that there are those that would rather shoot those of us that do not see life through the same eyes as they do. One thing I found very disturbing was a few commenters on my channel, as well as in some of the groups that I am on WhatsApp, who suggested that they would like to root out those that voted yes in 1992 and literally shoot them. To these people, I would like to express my utter disgust. Yes, the yes voters were wrong. Yes, the yes voters were fooled. Yes, there has to be thousands of them that regret voting yes every single day. But are these people now to be considered rejects of our society simply because they made an error of judgment 25 or 27 years ago? Not in my opinion. If you look purely at the ability to defend ourselves, and it came down to a choice between the two groups, it would make strategic sense to get rid of those calling for this than to get rid of the yes voters. I will give you a good example of why we should open our arms to any of us who see the danger and are willing to stand up against it. As many of you know, I served in the SADF in 1986 and 1987. During that time, I spent the entire 1987 on the border doing duty both in Southwest Africa as well as in Angola. Anyone who served in the SADF will tell you that there has never been a more diverse cross-section of people in one place as in the army. You had every kind, every social class, Christian or other or atheists, rich and poor, you name them, we had them. Never at any point did I consider any of these others untrustworthy or incompetent or anything other than one of us. Let me give you a very good example of what I am talking about. Just after arriving in Southwest Africa in mid-December 1986, we were tasked with a mission into Angola. A few months previously, a 101 Battalion unit had bundu-bashed a track through the bush 100 kilometers into Angola to a certain little town. We were not told why or for who, but the track was needed now for another mission by another team, and we were tasked to go ahead up this track and sweep it for landmines before the following operation used it. We were a convoy of at least 10 buffels. In case you didn't know, a buffel is an armored troop carrier that carries about 10 soldiers, so we were around 100 men strong. We entered the track, and the occupants of each buffel took turns sweeping the track ahead of the convoy of vehicles. Now, to sweep 100 kilometers in the Angolan heat and soft sand is slow going, but we made good progress and covered the distance in about 4 days without any incident. What I want to stress to you was that even though we in our buffel knew very few of the others personally, and because at all times those that were not on the ground sweeping the track for mines were either walking protection on the flanks or they were sitting seated in their buffels strapped in just in case we detonated a mine that the sweeping team had missed. This normally happens when one of the drivers loses concentration and strays off the wheel tracks of the vehicle in front of him and drives over unswept ground. Incidentally, this is exactly what happened to us the day we reached our destination, but that is a story for another day. At night, when we formed a TB or temporary base for the night, there were no opportunities for socializing, and the remaining daylight hours were spent preparing some food, eating it, and digging our dugout in the ground to sleep in. After sunset, there was to be total silence and everyone was to be at their post at all times. Because of this, there was really never any opportunity to get to know the other guys. You might be asked what this has to do with anything, but consider this. Given the huge diversity of people we were, not once did I ever doubt or wonder about the people up front's religious affiliations, whether they wanted to be there or not, whether they were competent or not. Nothing like that ever crossed my mind. Why? Because it made no difference at that time. I knew that every single one of my fellow soldiers had received the exact same training as I did, and I had all the faith in the fact that they were as capable of being responsible for my safety behind them as they were in mine when I was up front sweeping the track. Yes, it is true that there were some that I would not socialize with in civil life simply because they were from such different backgrounds to me and we were basically socially incompatible. But there in the bush and doing the job we were, the only thing we cared about was whether or not the guys up front were doing what they were trained to do. That's it, nothing else. If they did their job properly, it made no difference whether they were Christians or not, whether they said grace before they ate their food or not, whether they were religious or not, or whether they brushed their teeth or not. We were a team, and the only thing that was important was knowing that when I was sitting strapped into my seat behind the sweeping team, I trusted that they were doing their job. We had a job to do, and that is all that mattered. What I want to get you to see is although we had differences, big differences in some cases, we all formed one team with one goal, and that goal at the end of the day was to defend ourselves and each other with everything we had, should the need arise. I'm sure that most of you know that during the Angola Bush War, the SADF was regarded as the most powerful military on the African continent, and also arguably as the most effective infantry in the world. We were one of the best in the world, although we were a huge conglomeration of people with huge differences. Getting back to the video I just showed you. We are a long way off those numbers, but the fact that the numbers increased so much yesterday tells me that we are once again heading in that direction. We might never see those numbers again, But that is because life these days is different to how it was then. People are very busy making a living and just trying to survive in a very difficult world economically these days. Even so, the numbers indicated that we are coming together with a common goal: to survive. When we come to the realization that we need to put aside our differences for the sake of our own survival and count on each other as if our lives depended on it, which it does, in the eyes of the people who would like to see us all dead, we are all the same. We all have one thing that puts every one of us into the same category. That one thing is a white skin. Just as our white skin is used as the sole criteria to classify us as the enemy, so too should our white skin be used by every one of us to classify us as one people. Think about this for a while, and you will come to the conclusion that I am right. As promised, I have an update for you regarding Zetland and the developments there. As far as I know, Rodney Bartman as well as Brian Dalton have moved to the farm Del Barton permanently, and yesterday they had a ceremony to commemorate the Day of the Covenant, as well as to raise the Zetland flag on the farm. There were some Zetland members in attendance, and the ceremony was conducted by Brian and Rodney.
By ons kon aanmeld. Ek voel, ek seker Ronnie voel dieselfde. We love you all you guys. Without you guys, we don't exist. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you. So the significance of the 16th of December, and I'm sure every one of us know what that is. It is a very, very important time, date, for what happened in history in our country. It always has been since 1838, and it will be from today again. For one reason and one reason only. Because now we become Zuidlanders. Okay. So I'm going to stop right there, and because today was so important from a religious perspective, I'm going to ask Rodney to say a few words. Okay.
Okay guys, let's start in prayer. Dear Lord, we thank you, and we come to you in the name of Jesus. We thank you for having us here all today. And Lord, we come to honor our agreement on the covenant in 1838, where you protected us at the Battle of Blood River, where 400 odd Boers stood up to over 10,000 Zulus without one loss of one Boer, as we asked you that we would honor this day going forward from generation to generation, and so we do so. Lord, we pray that you bless Zetland the same way you blessed our people in 1838, that we may overcome, Lord, and find peace and prosperity in where we are and what we're doing. And we pray and thank you for getting everybody here safely today. We pray that you get them home safely as well, Lord, and that you guide us and ensure that we're doing the right thing by your will, Lord, that we continue in the direction to find us peace and prosperity. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
So without further ado, we're all here to see a flag being raised.
Yeah.
Shall we do that now?
Special bottles of champagne with the Zetland name on it.
Oh, wow.
And in fact, Belinda even did personalised ones for Brian and I with today's date on. So we're only going to pop one because it's very expensive bottles of champagne and we don't like to waste them.
I hope there's not only one, eh?
Yeah, that would be nice, eh? Right, here we go, guys. To Zuidland.
To our new future, guys. show you that it can be done. And we're going to make this work. Because we're innovative people. We're able to do this. It just takes the courage of each and every one of us working together. And we're going to get this right. Cheers to all of you.
Cheers. How's that?
This is a huge step for the community of Zetland, and is surely one of the many leaps forward in the days ahead. I've been promised an interview with Rodney as soon as he has had enough opportunity to settle in and get himself organized. That is about all for this video. I thought you should realize that we all need each other. We all need to learn to accept each other with all our differences, because we are all combed with the same comb by the enemy out there who would like to see us all dead. Let us use yesterday's events as motivation to see that we, as the white minority, are coming together without us even realizing it. Let us acknowledge it, let us encourage it, and let us speed it up. One last item. I have been asked by one of my subscribers, I think it's Margie Stradom, to please ask that you go to the Hawks channel, Craig Montgomery's YouTube channel, and sign his petition to get a mandate to go to the UN and apply, or to go to his government, I'm not sure which, to apply for help for South Africa. Now, I can't see any harm in this, just like I cannot see any harm in signing the petition for cessation by the ULA, etc. None of these things can do any harm. We have got nothing to lose by signing these petitions. I would ask you that you please go to Craig Montgomery's channel, The Hawk, and find the link to his petition and please sign it. Any help we can get now would be greatly appreciated. So please do that. Thank you, Margie, for the request. I am happy to oblige. Thank you. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, do it now by clicking on the big red subscribe button below and to the right of this video. While you are there, click on the bell icon to receive notifications whenever I upload new content. If you would like to support my channel and my efforts to prepare for a possible disaster year, in the description I have provided various means for both local as well as international subscribers to make a contribution. If you would like to make a crypto contribution, I have also supplied a Bitcoin as well as a Litecoin wallet address. If you would like to contribute any other crypto, please send me an email to the address provided and I will supply you with the relevant wallet address. To all those amazing people who do support me, I say a huge thank you. You have no idea how much it is appreciated. I'd like to post pictures of the things I am acquiring with these contributions, but that would just make me a target to many. Just trust that your contributions are being put to very good use. Thank you again. Be safe out there. Until next time.